Welcome everyone to another video. Today we're gonna talk about the 5 servants that can rival Gilgamesh. Without further ado, let's begin. So, aside from the gods, Gilgamesh is undeniably the strongest servant in the entire Fate franchise. Gilgamesh might not have the best physical combat skills, he also doesn't possess a great amount of strength or durability. In fact, if he were to fight hand-to-hand combat, he'll probably lose to just about anyone. Yes, including Mata Hari. Just kidding. How then does this arrogant bastard beat just about everyone? His noble phantasm, the Gate of Babylon. An EX noble phantasm capable of destroying just about anyone or anything in its path. A noble phantasm is like a trump card. It is a servant's ultimate attack, usually capable of turning the tides of a battle when deployed. And Gilgamesh's noble phantasm, the Gate of Babylon, stands above all other noble phantasms. It is the strongest trump card, allowing him to wield multiple noble phantasms. However, it alone is useless. It requires the owner to possess a great amount of wealth before being of any use. Gilgamesh, having acquired all the treasures in the world, makes the Gate of Babylon the strongest noble phantasm in the world. With the power to summon Enkidu, the chains of heaven, capable of immobilizing even the strongest of servants like Heracles, he is already practically unmatched. But he doesn't only have Enkidu in his arsenal of noble phantasms. He also possesses rampage until his master eventually runs out of mana and dies, or when his master uses a command seal to withdraw. If Lancelot actually gets a master like Ilya, he can possibly overwhelm Gilgamesh and force Gilgamesh into using AR or Enkidu, and eventually allowing Lancelot to take control of the weapons and provide the best counterattack in Fate history! except that there's one tiny problem. Having Ilya as a master will probably not end well for Lancelot too, since he'll just charge head on into battle like everyone else and end up, well, you know, thanks to Ilya's delusional thoughts that Berserker is the strongest. He can do anything! Number 2. Enkidu. If Enkidu were alive, it would mean that Gilgamesh wouldn't have the Chains of Heaven, which is actually Enkidu. And according to Gilgamesh's past, Enkidu held his own against Gilgamesh in a fight that lasted about a week, if I recall correctly. They were so evenly matched that Gilgamesh decided to regard Enkidu as his only friend, and was the only person Gilgamesh felt was worthy to mourn for prior to Enkidu's death. But Ilya is also a person that can beat Gilgamesh before manifesting as a sword. This Doom Ranger doesn't even know what he's talking about! No! That is where you're wrong. Ea is a god. Enkidu is a manifestation made from clay and water. And upon Enkidu's death, Gilgamesh exclaimed, "In all this world only one shall be my friend. Thus, not for all eternity shall his worth ever change." As Enkidu passed on, leaving only the thunderous cry of the King of Heroes. Enkidu was the only one deemed worthy as a rival, as someone who held his own against the mighty king, and as a friend. Number 3. Artoria Pendragon.
To many people, it's their waifu.
Her noble phantasm is one of the few noble phantasms able to rival Gilgamesh's Enuma Elish, given to her by the Lady of the Lake, Avalon. Untouchable even to the 5 magics, the ultimate protection that nothing can penetrate. Combined with Excalibur, the holy sword, owned by the King of Knights, is the ultimate rivalry to the Enuma Elish, the ultimate counter to Gilgamesh's strongest noble phantasm.
あなたは私の鞘だったのですね。
彼女が夢見た理想郷、
その名は
アバロン。魔術だと。
Number 4. Emiya Shiro, the Harem King that stole my girlfriend. Despite being one of the weakest heroes in the franchise, Emiya is possibly the only true counter to Gilgamesh. With his noble phantasm, the unlimited blade works.
I am the bone of my soul, unknown to death, and unknown to life. Unlimited blade works!
he is able to manifest a reality marble where a bunch of fake noble phantasms are at his disposal. So according to Fate's logic,
in their tongue, he is Dovahkiin, Dragonborn.
Emiya's fake noble phantasms can rival Gilgamesh's noble phantasm. And also, thanks to Gilgamesh being too arrogant, he lost the battle against Shiro in Fate's Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works because he held back from using Ea, and it only costed him an arm and his death. I mean, that's all, right? Just a heads up, I'm just using young Shiro as an example, since that is the only good battle between him and Goldie. But what I'm actually saying is that the servant's Emiya is the one that can beat Goldie, not young Shiro. Because as you can see, in Fate's Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, it wasn't Shiro that killed Gilgamesh, it was Archer, the counter guardian Amiya, not that Shiro that had that fucking harem with Rin.
お前の勝手だが、その前に右に避けろ。貴様。じゃあ。
あいつかっこつけやがって。
Finally, number 5, Ozymandias. With his noble phantasm, Ramesium Tenteris, a divine protection that grants immortality to Ozymandias and his guardian beast, making total destruction of both the temple and himself necessary to defeat him. There are various guardian beasts, including at least 7 sphinxes and others like stone lions. It is a divine curse of an ancient Egyptian divine spirit that acts as poison to any invaders and killing typical creatures in 2 seconds, weakening servants by ranking down their parameters and occasionally weakening some of their skills. A curse of the gods that stops enemies from activating noble phantasms by sealing them. With this, it is total negation of any attacks from Gilgamesh due to Gilgamesh's inability to use the Gate of Babylon. So here's a short skit I made to show what Gilgamesh would be like against the face of Ozymandias. This sums up my list of the top 5 heroes that can rival Gilgamesh. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.